All right, you guys. So let's get into episode 1 of season 3 of Into the Badlands. Enter the Pheonix. So my overall thoughts, first off, you guys, is that I thought that this episode was just okay. And I was expecting more. That's probably based on what I saw with some of the trailers. I really was hoping for much more of a dynamic story, but we didn't really get that. And I'm kind of okay with it, right? Because I understand what was going on with this episode. I mean, clearly this episode was one that really just established all of our different players in the narrative and kind of what's going on with them presently, and also what the state of the Badland is in. And we do also get the introduction of some of the newer characters as well within this first episode. So I'm cool with that. I guess I felt like, or I thought that we would get much more of a dynamic story, but I kind of understand why we didn't. So having said that, though, this was not a bad episode because there were some things in it that were really good. The fight choreography was awesome, and they said that they were going to ramp it up to another level, and boy, have they done that, because that fight between Moon and the Widow was amazing. I mean, the fight choreography in this is so good, and there really has not been anything like this that we've seen on TV before. It is so exceptional that you can't help but love it. And that's one of the reasons why I say, if people are not watching this show, it's because they haven't seen it, because the fight choreography with the story and the world building make this easily, to me, the best show on AMC. So I really enjoyed that element of the show. Also, listen, I enjoyed actually the way that it was shot. Definitely was more cinematic in its feel and tone, and you could see the difference in how this show was shot as opposed to seasons 1 and 2. It really did feel more like a cinematic piece, and I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed that element. Also, I also enjoyed the other fight sequences, like Tilda's fight sequence as the Iron Rabbit was awesome. And we find out now that she's working with Lydia. She's no longer with the Widow. So it'll be interesting to see her character as well, because while I do feel like, I don't even know how to put this. I guess the best thing I would say about Tilda is I still feel like Tilda's kind of coming into her own. And I think at some point we are going to see her transition to be a very, very powerful character in this narrative. When that happens, I'm not sure, because I still feel like she's kind of trying to find her way. But she, as the Iron Rabbit, is amazing, and her martial arts in this is amazing as well. So I thought that was interesting. Yo, man, like, what about Sunny and the baby? The fact that the baby is a dark one, I was like, wow, where are they going with that? And I'm really interested to know that, because it's not like they can use the baby as a weapon, because it's a baby. So I'm sure it's not arbitrary, though. There's got to be some very, very important part of the story that the baby plays. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how all of that plays out. So that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing that made me like, oh, wow, I can't believe that. So we'll see what they do with that. And then, of course, that final scene with Castor and Nyx really taking out the guards at the watchtower was amazing. That's the introduction we have to some of the new characters in the narrative, and I was happy to see that. I was surprised we didn't see Cressida, and I was surprised we didn't see Gaius. I think Gaius is going to be the wild card this season, really. We're going to keep an eye on him, because I really do think that he's going to be the wild card, because from what I read, he's actually locked up for helping Cogs by Madame Chow. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with his character and how they use him as well. But all in all, I thought this episode was just okay. Like I said, an establishing episode. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it either. I thought it was definitely necessary. And what I am satisfied with is the fact that we have a lot more episodes to build on. I'm also super excited to see Moon back in this narrative, because we really only got to see that one glimpse of him in season 2 when he has that confrontation with Sunny, and I feel like his character has so much more to offer. So it'll be interesting to see how they build him out. Right now, it looks like his main focus is really getting back at Sunny, but I believe there's more to Moon than meets the eye. There's some other characters that I hope show up here. I'd love to see more done with the River King, so I hope that we see more around that. I hope that we see Nas again, because he was an interesting character. I don't think that he's going to have a major role, but he's a character that I'd actually like to find a little bit more about. He strikes me as almost like a Quinn character, not quite as bad as Quinn. As in, speaking of Quinn, you know, I said on Twitter, I said, what would happen if Quinn just somehow we find him in this show? People would go nuts, and I miss Quinn already. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with Nas as well. So all in all, you guys, I mean, listen, yeah, it was an okay episode. I'm definitely looking forward to the rest of them. We're going to be covering the show heavily, as you know. So if you are a fan of Into the Badlands, please make sure that you subscribe. One of the big goals of this channel this year is actually to build some community around Into the Badlands here on YouTube. We've got great community around it on Twitter. There's a great Facebook group that I'm a part of. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put the link to that group in the description below. Make sure you check them out. But I really want to build and strengthen the community around this show on this platform. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure that you subscribe so that we can talk Into the Badlands together. That said, you guys, thank you so much. Yeah, that's my take on episode 1. I appreciate you for watching. If you are not a subscriber to the channel, make sure that you subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and all of that good stuff. And with that, I will see you on the next video. Oh, before I go, I'm going to link up some other Into the Badland vids I did that you guys might want to check out. They're pretty good if I do say so myself. All right, you guys. Peace.